Greetings, Earth people. Today's date is January 26th, and I'm just taking a short period of time for 5 minutes with the Flawed Guru. And I can actually see a clock this time, so I can actually tell when 5 minutes is up. So, it's January 26th. And in the past, I always did the videos on the cusp of January. It would be January 21st or so that I would do it and say, well, we've entered into Aquarius, and we've entered into the cleansing time, and the totem animal is the otter, and this is a time when we're 1 month closer to spring, March 22nd. So, but it's also a very difficult time. And a lot of times I think, people talk about, okay, December and January and on into February. A lot of people get very depressed. Why? Why do people get depressed during this period of time? And obviously one reason is that it's like, it's darker and it's colder, and there's not as much, you can't go outside as much, and the scenery can be very bleak. Here in Bernie, California, it's a really beautiful day today. It's a sunny day, probably going to go up into the 50s. So it's and that's probably the reason why I'm doing the video today, is because it's been so cold and rainy here. And then, boy, over on the East Coast, the huge blizzards and more coming. Well, here in California, in the mountains of the Cascades in California, it's pretty much gone the way that they said they would, with El Nino coming in. We have had a lot of wet weather, but temperatures have been a little bit higher than normal. So we're getting a lot of rain here in the lower elevations, and this is 3,000 feet. We've gotten some considerable snow, but up to 4,000 feet, a lot of snow, and it's really wonderful. People say Shasta Lake is filling up again. It's some alleviation of the drought that we've had, and we'll see how it goes from here. But still, it's, even though it's getting, the days are getting lighter, and the sun is setting a little bit later, it's not that remarkable yet. And so still, the darkness kind of affects people. But other than that, from an astrological perspective, traditionally, before the discovery of Uranus, the Greeks say Uranos, and I like Uranos, this period of time, both December, I'm going to turn this off here, it's making a little bit of noise. Both December, that's the heater there because it's been cold, December and January are ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is, the time, it's like, there's two forces in life, there's a lot of different forces, but in terms of, there's expansion and contraction. And expansion is like Jupiter. I always used to talk with a friend, the number 5. And, which is like creativity and expansion, kind of wanting to move out and to go out and not worry about things. And, and Saturn is like contraction. And so things like taxes, confinement, judgment, these kinds of things. And these forces, that force, Saturn is strong. Even since they say, okay, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, its co-ruler is Saturn. And so during this period of time, it's dark, it's cold, and there is this tendency, towards those kinds of things, which in life can seem malevolent, but aren't actually malevolent, but they're contracting, confining. That's why I like when people get spring fever after they come out of this. It's like, whoa. So that's kind of one of the things that is going on right now. And then also, there are other this is a really interesting period of time now. This period of time from January 21st to February, to the end of February 19th, 20th, that period of time. Because one thing is coming into this period and intensifying it. On the 23rd and 24th, we had a full moon. And it was incredible. I got up about 10 minutes to 2 in the morning and went outside and looked up and saw, the moon was behind the clouds. You could see it, through the clouds. But then the clouds opened up and just a magnificent moon. Somebody that posted something said that this is the wolf moon. But it's the, full moon within Aquarius. And so it intensifies those feelings. It intensifies the things that people are going through. And then the other thing is February 2nd, we have a convergence of days that are all related to one another. Imbolc, Candlemas, and Groundhog Day. I imagine the people on the East Coast are going to be, February 2nd, is winter going to be a short winter? Is it going to end? Over there they've got the Arctic winds coming down, combining with this moist weather from the west and from the south, and it, gives them a lot of snow and a lot of ice. But Imbolc, Groundhog Day, this is like really an ancient day. That day marks the halfway point between the winter solstice and the March equinox. And so it's one of the 8 cardinal points in the year, in the movement of time. Time is like, or life is like music. It's framed. We have 4/4 time, the 4 seasons, or if you, solar times 4/4, or if you divide those in half, then it's 8/8. And we're at one of those junctures, or coming up to one of those junctures, February 2nd. And so, as I mentioned, this is the cleansing time. This is the time to give away the things that you don't want anymore, and to let go of all of those things from the past that, are baggage that you no longer need. Because a new year is coming. Because we're halfway, from the depth of winter to the equinox, the beginning of spring. And so there's going to be new energy bursting forth. Is right now, it's like all of the life energy and electrical energy withdrew into the earth. It started in September, and it, started withdrawing, and then since December 22nd, there's a birth of new life, but it's not apparent right away. So it's building up, and now it's gaining momentum. The earth is full of energy. The earth is ready to respond to the sun. As the days are getting longer, and and the sun begins to warm the earth more, then life is going to burst forth again. And not only life, but not only the life energy, but electrical energy will have, storms and, things like that, and the rains, spring rains and everything like that. So that is coming. And so psychologically, having been attuned to the earth for hundreds of thousands of years, human beings, go through the same kind of a process where, in the subconscious, in the unconscious, there are stirrings of creativity. There are stirrings of energy. And yet they're constrained by the weather and by the season of the light and by the astrological seasons. So it's kind of like a frustrating time. It's a time when patience is very important, and it's a time to clean things up. Cleansing things, just even in the external environment. It's a good time now. I thought, boy, it's sunny today. Now's a good time to get out there and begin raking away all of the leaves and everything that have come down since the fall, and all the pine needles, and get everything cleaned up, get the soil prepared, trim the bushes, get everything ready, for this burst of new energy. And the same way within ourselves, it's like we're always in a process of pruning. We're always in a process of trying to have good fertile soil within ourselves. So in terms of habits, let's just say habits. In terms of habits, we went through the winter, which is a renewal time. We went through Capricorn, which is a renewal time. A time for reflection, and so that we can balance and we can weigh. This is a part of the process of judgment. And in the New Year's resolution thing, what are the valuable things in my life? What are the things that I want to let go of? And what are the things that I want to accomplish? And so during this period of time then, in preparation for the burst of a new year, this is a good time. And wherever you are, you don't even have to think about it as a year. It's like, but in terms of time, in terms of the seasons, this is a good time to get ready for the spring. And it will be a good spring. So, I went over the 5 minutes, and it was like, David Kim, the president of Unification Seminary, used to always say, I have many things to share with you, but there is no time. And, other people go, no time like the present, go ahead and share them. But no, this is good. And I just wish you a good time during this time, and let go. Let go, don't try to force yourself to let go. Just relax. Relax. This is a thing, you can think about what it means. My wife said, I'm trying to think about what it means to surrender. Not to give up, but to accept what is. And then to have the clarity of mind, to be able to make the distinctions, to realize that you are free. You can choose. It takes time to change, but you can make a decision, what things you want to let go of and what things you want to invest. What kind of a person do you want to be? What kind of a person do you want to be? Then you can make a decision, because becoming that kind of person will be the result of engaging in behaviors that are in accord with that kind of person that you want to be. So, if you want to be a good, generous, giving person, then do something generous. If you want to be a person who's like serving person, then find a way, as often as possible, if possible every day, to do some good deed. If you want to be a person who has a particular skill, then practice that skill every day. And then those things that don't contribute to what is that you want to be, then let go of them. Don't invest your time and energy. It's all karma. Actions produce reactions. You do things, it plants seeds. They'll bear fruit in the future. So, easier said than done. It's difficult, to give up certain things and everything like that. But you can, little by little. You can also grow in wisdom. You can learn that some things, you don't necessarily have to give up, but you need to get to the point where you can moderate them, where you are in control of yourself and they're not in control of you. Anyway, this is a good time to face all of these questions. This is an extension of the period of judgment time, and along with the Uranus influence and the Aquarian kind of factor of being abstract and intellectual, this is a good time to be able to analyze these things. It is a good time to be able to see these things. It's not unclear. We're coming into Pisces, where then it's kind of a much sort of deeper sort of like, surrender and merging, but, which is more mystical and less kind of on the mental plane. But now we're dealing with air, the element of air. So, you can see things more clearly. But it's important to realize that just seeing things more clearly, just understanding things, doesn't solve problems. With the understanding of things, then you need to be able to apply your understanding, put it into practice. Right now, you're working on an internal level on the things that you will begin to work on an external level in just a little bit. Right now you are germinating and developing the energy and the life energy that will enable you to plant the seeds that will bear good fruit in the future. So be grateful for this time and be patient. Be patient. And think of love and think of unity and seek to develop a life of faith where, as the Desiderata says, whatever your conception of God may be at peace. Be at peace with God, whatever your conception of God may be. That is atonement. So I wish you well and have a very nice time, and I'll see you soon. Bye.